I found some more cool sabers since the last video. Yo, it's autumn and I play a lot of Beat Saber, so much that I commissioned Astelic to make my very own custom autumn sabers. I'm so unbelievably happy with how she did. There's this majestic gold leaf in it, the little vine wrapping around the handle, and the deep black inners of the saber, which represents the depression inside my chest which yearns for attention and recognition, constantly sapping my energy and stressing me out when I'm not being productive enough. And look at the little leaf particles floating around. Oh, it's so cool. I'll be honest, I like all these sabers in the video, but I'm in love with my autumn saber, so I can't imagine me switching anytime soon to one of these. However, today I'm going to showcase 15 sabers that I think more people need to try out. I will say before I start that I am a big fan of simple yet elegant sabers, so if you're looking for vision blocking, ram eating, particle puking sabers, then you might not find too many in this list that you enjoy. The first 8 will be standard custom sabers anyone can download for free, however the last 7 are REESABERS. REESABERS can only be acquired by subscribing to the Beat Leader Patreon, but don't worry, it is very cheap at only $3 US, and you can unsub after you get the mod. Alright, time to get into the list. So we're going to start off with the Flux Sabers by I Smell Food. I usually prefer a saber with a darker look to it, but I Smell Food has done a pretty good job on this, I gotta say. It kinda reminds me of the Pride Sabers design, which used to be my main sabers, but with a couple of rings around it and a more sleek look. Overall, this is quite a simple saber, but is executed very well. Next up is D-Examia NR by LENG. Usually I don't like the trails for most of the normal sabers since they are just 2D textures, so I normally make the trail just a tiny little line on the end and I kind of like hide it away, but I really like what LENG has done. To me they look like abstract paint strokes in a way. The sabers themselves are great too. I am a sucker for the black blades with a lighter glow around the edges, and the hilts with the cross patterns give it the sense of uniqueness without making it too distracting. Inverted Tesla Sabers by Emilian. Remember when I said that I don't like vision blocking sabers? Well, this is gonna be one of the exceptions on the list. Out of all the Tesla sabers, this is my favorite. It works really well with the dark body, since most dark colored sabers really need to be quite big, otherwise you end up losing where you're swinging. So it kind of works hand in hand. And finally, it would be criminal to not include at least one Tesla saber in a Beat Saber Sabers compilation. iSF-HourGlassSandsCC by I Smell Food. Okay, these are really cool. The main feature of this is the hourglasses in the hilts of the sabers. The blades are pretty standard, but they don't actually need to stand out, since the idea of having a working hourglass in your swords is the best signature detail I've ever seen in a long time. And I am impressed with the level of creativity and uniqueness that is involved in just thinking of that concept. And it's certainly paid off. Next we have I Smell Food again, god damn, with an iSF-NewOldCubeSabers. There's really nothing new or spectacular about this saber. It has a pretty cute little cube where a sword's guard is meant to be, but other than that, it is just an incredibly elegant and sleek design, which I might use every so often just to spice things up without it being too much of a change to where it's a distraction. IJKXJ1 Iris by Jojo and Joshibra. These sabers are cute. I find the handles with like the twisted root looking things, they feel really refreshing in a way, because of the whole nature appeal, I guess. Okay, after looking at it more closely, the top of the hilt is a little techy, but to me it actually kind of reminds me of this one native tree we have here in New Zealand called the Puhutakawa. So I like the aesthetic of it. What can I say? It's really good. I like it. P7 HailStorm by Pixel. If you like minimal designs like I do, then this video is really gonna be great for you. I don't know why, but this saber kind of gives me like flame edgy vibes. I feel like it's because of the hilt looking charred in the middle and then white hot on the top and bottom with the flames creeping in. It's not a bad edgy, I actually really like it. It's just another good alternative to have for like the minimal sabers for those who like it. It's good because it's not a complete revamp of everything, it's just some small tweak. And the last one out of the regular sabers is Lollp's Shadow Saber. This is a saber which I believe has managed to come closest to mimicking the level of detail and complexity that you can find in REESABERS. That is no easy task. While most sabers on this list have pretty standard trails, this one is actually pretty cool. Anyway, cool sabers with some really cool particles that make the saber stand out in a dark, shadowy kind of way. Now we're going into the REESABERS. If you want to try these, you will need to sub to the Patreon, join the Beat Leader Discord, and follow these instructions to get all set up. Again, these aren't free, you have to pay $3. If you do have that to spare, I would recommend trying this out, especially if you're a content creator on YouTube and you want to make your gameplay look cooler. Alright, the first one up is 6969 by Username. This double nice saber has so much blur, you really can't even see the design when it's moving, but I kinda like that. It makes me feel like I'm swinging just like so fast that the saber itself is just blurring. I have a problem in Beat Saber with overswinging and swinging my arms hard enough to pass a 15-star map, even when I'm playing mid-speed. Funnily enough, because the saber looks so damn fast, because of the blur, it's actually started making me slow down, and I was acting this map quite well. Ignore the fact that my swings look unstable as hell, I was doing well somehow. The next one up is My First Sabers by Asmana. These don't actually have a proper name to them, since they're just listed in the presets channel as My First Sabers. Whenever I think of REESABERS, this is the type of saber that I think of. The blurred lines, the neon streaks, they feel really nice to swing with, and the blade itself has its own appeal going for it. For someone's first sabers, I gotta say they've done a really good job. Needle 2 and 3 by Revanity. Every REESABER compilation needs at least one of these. It needs at least one blur saber, one GPU destroyer, and one ball and needle saber. The appeal of this is how little space it takes up, allowing you to focus on playing the game while still providing a taste of pretty visuals to make your play session more enjoyable and fun. I find myself forgetting that the saber is even there, while still knowing where the saber actually is. Next we have SLY Distortion Minimal by Salty. This design feels really modern, it's smooth and crisp. I think the rings and my colors have given it a really tasteful and refined look, which I'm really liking. The trails are also really fun to play with, and I'd highly recommend trying this one out because it feels just as smooth as it looks here. SY115 by Sync. REESABERS can be very distracting, which means that most times ranked play and cool sabers just don't mix. However, I will make an exception for this. If you turn down the intensity of the trails, then I feel like you could play with this and still do well in ranked. The trail lines are clean and clear, and the simple 115s on the hilt are like a perfect cherry on the top. SY Blur Sabers by Sync again. Here's a blur saber you should try. I've already talked about how I prefer a darker look to the sabers since I use quite light colors, but these sabers are just too cool. They are just too goddamn cool. The ring blurring and the trail that matches up exactly with that ring is just too clean to not include it on this list. It's so good. I love this saber. And lastly, but by far not least, and my favorite out of all these REESABERS, is the Black Parrot's TBP-Occlone. My favorite REESABER creator, the Black Parrot. I do not know how they managed to do it. It's like every single one of their sabers on the Beat Leader Discord are just so perfect. Especially the ones like this one, which has the directional sparks when you hit a block. And don't even get me started on that saber bend. It's like these sabers were made for content creators. Anyway, these are my favorite sabers, after my own of course. I hope you enjoyed. leave a comment with an underrated Saber, because I'm sure I missed quite a few of them. Like the video if you liked it, dislike it if you didn't, and I will see you all next week, which will either be doing a quiz I made for how addicted you are to Beat Saber, or a ranked update where I pass over a pretty cool milestone. But you'll have to wait and see, so see you then.